We doing everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta toss them out. I'm really biting, they just barking out. I'm really riding, they just parking now. His street, what to talk about. See the big H when I'm walking out.
Knoah Teamwear. Welcome everyone. Today we have running backs coach / special teams coordinator for the Barcelona Dragons, Mr. Pat Wennin, coming to chop us up and talk some ball. So, Pat, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, thank you. Appreciate you having me, man.
Most definitely, man. How things going after the bye week? How things going over there?
Good. You know, it was good to step away, get away from everything a little bit mid-season, and we're ready to rock and ready to roll. You know, we had an extra practice this week just to get our bodies moving, flowing again, and we're just ready to hit the field.
Well, let's dive right into it, man. And, you know, you're someone that's been with the team since, you know, last year. This year, new coach coming in after a rough season last year, you know, started off pretty slow. You guys picked it up a little bit during the middle of the season, almost made a playoff push before ultimately, you know, the season ended. But for you personally, you know, the one question I want to know is, you know, why did you come back after last season?
Right. A couple different things, man. You know, first of all, it's the players. You know, the bond that we created, the things we went through, the trials and tribulations that we went through last year, you know, really created that family atmosphere here in the organization and with the players. And it was mainly for them. Also, the league is growing, and a little bit of FOMO. They don't want to miss out on all the fun. Definitely had to play with it, but mostly the players. And then Coach Andrew actually called me. You know, I got a job for a college over in the States.
Yeah.
And Coach Andrew called me and he's like, hey, look, the Barcelona Dragons are reaching out. And I guess he found my name off Twitter or something. And he's like, what do you think? And then I started talking to him and chopping it up with him a little bit. And I was like, man, I gotta go with this guy. I gotta go. So I messaged, me and Bart talked a little bit back and forth, and before you know it, I was back here, and it was, you know, the players, Coach Andrew, his experience, the way his passion, the way he watches the game and calls plays. For me, it was just another opportunity to learn from one of the better coaches and be part of something special here. I knew a couple of the guys that were coming back and some of the guys we were adding, and I knew that with the right pieces, we could definitely make something work. So it was really a no-brainer once all that started rolling, and after that, it just kind of took off a little bit.
Yeah, it's crazy because you bring in a new coach, but Coach Andrew embraces Barcelona, embraces the team he has, the fans he has, and he's very engaging. And you could feel that watching from the outside. You could feel that, you know, when fans are at the game, and it feeds into that culture you have down there. I think he was, hindsight 2020, I think he was the perfect fit for you guys.
Right. Yeah, no, you know, one of the best things that he's ever said that I've always kind of fallen under through some of my other head coaches, that, you know, you lead from the middle here. You know, this is more of it's different than coaching in the States. You know, you want to let your players not take control, but be their own person, be their own personality.
Yeah.
And the moment you take it away from them, we're no longer a team. We're just a couple guys playing football.
Yeah.
So Coach Andrew does a great job of just, you know, letting these guys be themselves. And you see it with the way we play, the way we practice. Everyone's kind of they're having fun now. You know, last year a little bit more rigid, a little bit more structured.
Yeah.
In the sense of like old school football. And that's really changed. And Coach Andrew's done a great job, and we're learning a ton from him. So it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, I definitely think that style fits, you know, the players and, you know, the guys you have down there. So so we're at week 11. We're sitting here at 6-2. Currently, you guys are at the 3 seed, but first in the South. Now, last year, again, completely different team. You kind of had a front row seat of being able to see from last year and this year, right? As it relates to you as a coach, you know, what did you learn personally about you, or how did you grow as a coach from year 1 to year 2 right now?
Ooh. Well, definitely I had to step, we lost a couple coaches mid-season last year, and I had to step up into the offensive coordinator and special teams. And it was all kind of like, it all just meshed up into a blur. What happened at the end of the season last year. We were coaching, it was 4 of us. It was 5 of us. It was 5 of us coaching last year when we made that little push at the end. It was extreme trust on the players to, we're going through the pandemic stuff. We're understaffed. So for me, it was more like you have to be prepared with everything and do your homework. And just, if it takes more time of your day, then it takes more time. But being prepared, just consistently, repetition, practice, film. It's a grind. It's a grind. So then coming into this year, it was like, okay, now the players, I think all of us like kind of took that step as players and coaches.
Yeah.
That returned. You saw it. You saw the difference. Like, last year was like, oh, this is exciting. It's fun. We're playing pro ball. And then now this year, we all came into training camp like ready to go. Like the players were working out. They weren't on the beach. They were getting ready for the season compared to just stumbling into the season last year.
Yeah.
And that has something to do with, we started late. Everything kind of came together late, and people, we're still figuring out how to do everything. But that, to me, the biggest difference is the preparation of everything.
And I think last year you're recruiting guys, but guys are coming from one league to another. So they don't really have an off season where they did, this year to get ready. And you guys are, everyone's gone through it, but you can see that like when players are dedicated to, playing in one league or playing for one team, and they have the off season to prepare for that league, the success that you guys are being able to come out with. So, last year was, it plays such a factor into and it just, preparing your body. It's a longer season than last year. It's a grind. You're talking about 16 weeks basically. Yeah. If you reach the end, you're playing 16 to 17 weeks. Yeah, absolutely.
NFL season.
Yeah, and we're granted that every team is getting 2 buys, but as this league continues to grow, they're not gonna keep extending weeks. If anything, they're just gonna take out a bye week or something like that. Depends however they decide to do it, but that's a whole nother topic.
We can sit there and talk about that for another hour.
Or exactly. Whatever Zume wants to come up with his crazy mind when it comes to that. But hey, man, and the word in the streets in this social media metaverse, talking to everybody that watches the games and covers the games, or even just people who just like to chop it up with guys and stuff like that. As a special teams coordinator, you kind of have the privilege of combining the offensive guys and defensive guys into one unit, and everyone that's watched you guys compliments you guys on being able to play in all 3 phases, and all 3 phases have helped you win games. Obviously, the first Ram game was big, and you guys had a couple other games too where special teams had come into play. And that's hard for you because, I mean, we play ball. Some guys just don't want to play special teams. Nobody wants to run down on gunner or be a frontline kick returner. But for you, how did you get those guys to buy in and to contribute to the success that you guys have been able to have on special teams?
Right. Well, I mean, first of all, like you said, it becomes one unit. So the offensive guys, the defensive guys, when we're in those meetings, when we're in practice, special teams becomes one unit. So that's like the biggest thing that we take pride in. I also have some guys that are just freaking awesome. Georgia, Luis Cerceda, Pep is our long snapper, Bowen. Those guys, George is a professional kicker. He's in the league for a couple of years. So just bouncing off ideas with him has made it awesome. And then the biggest thing is just taking pride in it, like I said. From the start, and it starts with my meetings, but it's really the guys. The guys, they love it. They love it. Like, we got a special bunch of dudes that just love playing ball. So like I've had multiple starters come up to me like coach, like I want to be on kickoff. I want to be on kick return. I want to be on power. And I'm thinking the same thing you like. When I played, I don't want to be on any of that.
No.
I'm in on running back, receiver. I don't want to be on special teams. But these guys want to be on it. And I think that, that has something to do with the way we've structured it, the way we've talked about it since our Zoom meetings before I came overseas. I think everything we just set because we know we're the smallest team in the league. Yeah. We're not as big as the Germans and we're not as big as Austrians. So we have to execute in everything we do. And that means special teams. And that means, and Coach Andrew's awesome. He says, hey, take all the time you need for us to get ready. Because he understands. He understands that it's 33% of the game. And it's just as big as part of it.
Just as important as offense and defense, yep.
And so we're not allowed to just take it lax and just put 11 guys on the field. And after that, it's just the guys making plays. You know, essentially, we just put them in position and they make the plays.
Yeah, and like I said, it's been fun. It's been fun watching you guys. I mean, not just, you know, watching Zach on offense or, you know, Kyle Sweet salsa dance, or not just watching, you know.
I told him though, he's gotta work on his elbows.
We're gonna hit some little bit. Yeah, or not just you know, watching, you know, Jordy, you know, on defense, or, you know, Michael Sam get after the quarterback, or
Rubio.
Yeah. Special teams is an important part, but by having guys bought into it might be probably the most challenging part. But once you guys that want to volunteer and do it, it just makes your life easier. And obviously, you've seen how you guys have had success with it throughout the season. So, I want to transition to Michael Sam a little bit. So this past week, ESPN released a documentary, his story, and how he got to the point he is today. As a Rams fan, I was happy when they drafted him. And he's more than just, I want to get this out the way. Michael Sam is more than just an incredible story. He's a trailblazer, but he's also, you know, a heck of a football player. Co-defensive player in the SEC, which is the toughest conference in the NCAA. You know, him coming over as a coach now as a player, what's been his impact, or what type of leadership has he been able to provide, not only to the team, but as a contributor to the coaching staff?
Right. Yeah. So Mike came in, you know, as an assistant D-line coach, and I think at first, just like all of us, he was trying to find his role. You know, that was kind of his first time in a coach setting. Yeah. And overseas, it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy doing what he did. And then we, you know, with a couple of the roster moves that we made, we're like, hey, Mike, are you interested in playing? And that's a whole nother animal. You know, the guy, like, he was already in shape. Yeah. It's like, it's coming in from not playing a couple years to not playing pro ball overseas. So that transaction, that change alone is an inspiration to all of us. Yeah. And then you could see he was always cool with the guys. So, you know, as a coach, I feel like a lot of us are more player coaches. You know, the guys, we get along with the guys well. And he, you know, he jumped in and did that. And then he became a player. And just the impact he has, you know, his mindset towards how he handles himself in practice, how he prepares himself for the game, the stuff he does. You know, he's out there before on the bags before we're even in pre-practice. Yeah. You know, he has a pre-practice before our pre-practice. And I think that helps, you know, a couple of the younger guys that we have, we're a young team, see that and want to do that with him and want to get better with him. And Coach Chase, who's our D-line coach, who, you know, has 4 years of experience in NFL with the Vikings. I mean, you got 2 NFL minds right there, helping Iago and Rubia, who you're seeing is having an incredible season. Yeah. Those are 2 guys right there that deserve all the credit for helping mold this from a kid, a Spanish football player, to this one of the stars in the league, a young star in the league. And so Mike's mindset is just, it's a professional mindset. It's an intense mindset. It's what can I do to make the team better? How can I make it better? Not just on the field, but off the field. Yeah. You know, how can we help sell merchandise? It's inspiring because he's been through so much. He's seen so much more than any of us have ever seen. He's
probably seen the highest highs, and probably some of this, probably the lowest lows for someone who's been in his position. But I don't want to take away from, I'm not saying you are, just generally speaking, like when people think of Mike Sam, like don't take away from his story. Like, know, like this dude is a great football player, and the impact he's had on that defense and that defensive line. has been great. I mean, he's opening up,
Right.
for other guys to make plays.
Right. That's another thing that, and you know how it is. Like,
Yeah.
the D-line they never get enough credit. They never get enough credit. And what he does, the way he could fill a gap, the way he could, now 2 guys have to worry about him. That opens up 3v3. It changes the way we scheme. It changes the way offenses have to scheme. And that alone right there is enough for what we need. And so you see that strength. You see that strength. And it's slowly, the crazy thing is he's still not where he was.
Yeah.
He's still like working his way up to his football shape. So we're, as a coaching staff, we're excited. We're excited to see how much farther he can go.
Yeah, he had a little scare in Turkey, but it was good to see him bounce back.
Right.
No,
definitely. And that's part of getting back into that shit. And it was hot. It was hot. They got us on the other side without the shade. I was like, okay, they know what they're doing down there.
This Turkish heat's a little different than the Spain heat.
It is. It's a drier heat, so it's just we're all over the place. we're not here to talk about that game.
Nah, that game was in the past. But hey man, before we wrap it up, so this is the final stretch, last 4 weeks in the season, right? Obviously, what it is, you guys are in a decent spot, to get to where you want to go. But I want to ask you, within these next 4 weeks, what do the Dragons have to do to not only ensure you're a playoff contender, because I think, again, everybody in this social media metaverse thinks that, but you guys are a championship caliber contender.
Right. We just have to, we can't let the outside noise affect us. We got to keep doing what we do best, and that's being us. That's being us and preparing the way we prepare, practicing the way we practice, and playing the way we play. We're a fun team. We're excited.
Absolutely.
We love doing all that stuff, and that's great, but we can't let anything outside of us create this other world that's not going to get us better. What's going to get us better is staying within ourselves, staying as a team, staying as a family, and then just taking game by game. And I know that's like corny, typical answer, but it's so true. It's so true.
It's the truth.
In this league more than ever. And we've seen it. You saw it 2 weeks ago against us. If you don't take a team 100% like a professional team, you're gonna get beat. You're gonna get beat. And that's just the bottom line of this league. So for us, it's take each game by the game and let everything else play out, and don't let the outside noise affect us. Because we got something special here. Everyone sees it, but we just have to stay within ourselves and let everything else, stumble into where it happens.
Absolutely, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Pat Wennin, running backs coach, special teams coordinator for the Barcelona Dragons, currently number 1 in the South, 6-2 record, heading into this weekend slate versus the Cologne Centurions. Pat, hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's always good to chop it up with not just players, but coaches and different minds as well. So I appreciate you coming on, man.
No, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Nobody, hard work, they don't know about. Hard work, they don't